Hello guys, welcome to the CSS crash course. In this video, we will learn about CSS animations. My name is Kafui and welcome to my channel mods.dev. Please subscribe, like and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. With that said, let's get started. CSS animations are a way to bring life and interactivity to elements on a web page. They allow you to create movement and transition effects without relying heavily on JavaScript. CSS animations are defined using the keyframes rule. This rule specifies what the element should look like at various points in the animation. The animation is then applied to the element using the CSS animation property. In my index.html file, I have this empty div with the class of box, and then I selected it in my style.css file and then apply some styles to it. So let's look at how we can apply CSS animations to this box. Before we be able to apply CSS animation to this box element, we have to define our animation using the keyframes rule. So I'll just write at keyframes and then I'll write the name of my animation, and in this example is spin. And then in curly bracket we define where you want your animation to start from and then how it should end. So I was using the from keyword, I'll say transform, and then I'll just say rotate using the rotate function here 0 degrees, and then using the to keyword we can define the end of our animation, and I'll just say rotate 360 degrees and save. So upon doing that, I have defined what my animation using the keyframe rule, and then the name of my animation is what? Spin. So you can write any name, or I can say maybe rotate. I can say rotate box, or I just want to use spin box, or let's say spin, for example, or say spin box, depending on the name you want for your animation. So now let's look at how we can apply the animation to this box using the CSS animation properties. The first one we'll look at is the animation name property. So I'll write animation name. So the animation name property specifies the name of the animation. So in this example, the name of my animation is what? Spin. Then when I do that and see, nothing happens. The next property we'll look at is the animation duration property, which determines how long animation to take place. So I'll say animation duration, and then the value can be in either seconds or milliseconds. So I'll just say it should occur within 3 seconds. When I do that and save, now we see our animation occurring within 3 seconds. So when I reload my browser here, we see the animation taking place. When I comment out the duration, nothing happens, but when I comment in and save, we see this nice animation here. So this is how we can apply a simple animation to an element using the CSS animation property. Now let's continue to look at some of the CSS animation properties that we can apply to an element. The next one we'll look at is the animation timing function. So I'll just go and write animation timing function. The animation timing function property specifies the speed curve of the animation, and you see that VS Code gives us auto completion of some of the values that we can provide. So we can provide ease in, out, linear. So I'll just write linear here and save, and then we see that nice linear animation taking effect. The next one we'll look at is the animation delay property. So I'll just write animation delay. This specifies, or this sets the delay before the animation to start. So I'll just come here and bring the duration of my animation to, let's say, 2 seconds, and then I'll put a delay of, let's say, 5 seconds. When I do that and save, now we see that our animation doesn't occur until what? 5 seconds before the animation will occur. So when I comment this out, you see that our animation takes effect immediately, but when I comment in the delay, it waits until 5 seconds and then the animation will now occur. So this is the function of the animation delay property. I'll just comment it out. The next property we'll look at is the animation iteration count. I'll go ahead and write animation iteration count, animation iteration count. So this property specifies the number of times the animation cycle should be played. So I can say 2 times. When I do that and save, our animation will occur 2 times. When I go ahead and write 5, our animation will occur 5 times. So if you want your animation to continue repeating indefinitely, you can use the infinite or infinite keyword. When I do that and save, our animation will continue to occur and occur. So that's it about the animation iteration count property. The next one we'll look at is the animation direction property, which specifies whether the animation to play forward, backwards, alternate between forward and backwards on each cycle, or alternate reverse. So I'll just go ahead, animation direction, and then we see that we can specify these properties, these values here. So I'll just choose alternate and save. The next one we'll look at is the animation fill mode, which determines how the element styles are applied before and after the animation. So I'll just go ahead and say animation fill mode, and then I'll choose, let's say, forwards here, and then if when I go ahead and then add more styles or animation styles here, you see it being applied. So the last one we'll look at is the animation play state, which allows you to pause or resume an animation's playback using the pause and running values respectively. So I'll just go ahead and write animation play state, and then we can specify the value of paused and then running. When I choose pause and save, our animation is paused. When I choose running, let me just write this properly, running, and save, our animation will be running. I'll just go ahead and then comment it out. So one may ask, do I always have to provide all these properties? No. The most important property you have to provide is the animation name and then the animation duration. So you don't have to provide all the rest of these properties if you don't need them. So you have to take note of that. And we can use the animation shorthand property to apply the same animation to this element. So I'll just go ahead and then comment all this out so that we look at how we can use the animation shorthand property. So when I save, we don't see any animation, so we can use the animation property. So this is a shorthand property, and then we can define our animation for this element. So the name of my animation, the duration, and then other properties can come in. So I'll just use linear for the timing function, and then infinite for the iteration count. When I do that and save, we get the same results of our animation. So this is how we can use the animation shorthand property to define animation for an element. So that's it about this animation. So I can go ahead and then define another animation using the keyframe rule, and I'll just say move. So the name of this animation is move. So now, aside the from and then the to keyword, we can use percentage. So I'll just say 0%. So at 0%, I want to transform and then translate X. So I want to move it to the right, let's say 200 pixels, and save. And then when it moves, so from at 0%, it should be 200 pixels. Then let's say 50%. I'll just come here, copy this, and then paste here at 50%. I'll not translate it, but let's say scale it a bit. So I'll just scale point, let's say 5, and save. And then maybe finally at 100%, I'll just paste this in and then move it Y 200 pixels. When I do that and save, and then I change the name of the animation to move and save, you see that that animation is being applied. It is a weird animation. This weird animation is being applied to our element. So this is how we can define multiple animation. So I can go ahead and define another animation. So let's say using the keyframes, I'll just say fade in. That's the name of my animation. So I'll just say from, using the from. So I'll say opacity of 0, and then finally I'll say to opacity of 1, and save. And then when I go ahead and then change this to fade in and save, see that fade in animation happening over and over again. So that's it. So over here, using percentages, I can define, let's say 80%, something should happen, or an animation to occur. Maybe change the background color to, I'll just select any of these random colors here and save. So when I go ahead and change the name of my animation to, let's say, move and save, we see that occurring. So that's it about how we can apply animations to elements in CSS. That's all for this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section for discussion. Please subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.